Hello all, I am the Holland Phantom, and for today's video we're going to be having a live battle from the 2019 format. On one side, we got the Malamar Giratina deck, as used by Keito Uchida, a top 32 Worlds competitor in the Masters Division, going up against the Rampardos deck, as used by Tobias, a top 64 Worlds competitor. So we'll see which of these two decks can take the victory today. But before we begin, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel and to my Twitter account at Holland_Phantom so you don't miss out on any new Pokemon TCG content. And now with that out of the way, let's get into the battle! And here we go, the battle has started, with both players summing over their starting Pokemon, and both players have started off by using Jirachi as their active Pokemon. The Rampardos side is going first, activating Stellar Wish on Jirachi, putting it to sleep, and then looking at the top 5 cards of the deck. The player can choose to keep one trainer card they find there in their hand, and shuffle the rest back into the deck. The chosen card is going to be supporter Cynthia, but before it gets used, the player activates the Unidentified Fossil to put onto their bench as a basic Pokemon, and the Stadium Pokemon Research Lab. And here we see Cynthia being activated to shuffle away the player's hand to draw 6 brand new cards. Okay, there we see the cards being drawn. Let's see if they get any more Pokemon or energy cards to play. Actually, no. Here we go, activating the ability of the Stadium. And now the player can look for up to 2 Pokemon that evolve from the Fossil cards to put onto their bench. And the Pokemon chosen are going to be Cranidos and Ammonite. And that's going to be it. Okay, turn passes, and now in between turns, let's see if Jirachi wakes up. And yes, it does. The coin flip is going to be heads. And now turn passes over to the Giratina side. Let's see what they can do for their first turn. Okay, the player benches an Inkay, followed by using Stellar Wish and Jirachi as well. Okay, it's going to be the same as the previous turn, looking at the top 5 cards of the deck and choosing to keep one trainer card they find there. And this time it's going to be the supporter card Lily. The rest of the cards get shuffled back in now, so I might be seeing the supporter for this turn now. Oh, not yet. Here we see Giratina coming down to the bench, and a Psychic Energy comes down to the Giratina. It's going to be one of the main attackers of this deck. And here comes the Spell Tag. It's a Pokemon tool equipped onto the Giratina, and here's a supporter for the turn, Lily. And now the player can draw until they have 8 cards in their hand. Normally you can draw until you only have 6 cards in your hand, but if it's played on the first turn, you can draw until you have 8. Okay, the next item card is going to be a Mysterious Treasure, discarding an Ultra Necrozma for another Inkay to put onto the bench. So it's 2 Inkay so far. They're going to be the Energy Accelerators once they evolve into Malamar in a future turn. And that's going to be it. Here's the coin flip, and it is tails, so this Jirachi does not wake up. Okay, now over to the Rampardos next turn. Let's see what they can do. Ammonite evolves into Amistar, and a Fighting Energy gets equipped to the bench Cranidos. The supporter card for the turn is going to be Bill's Analysis, looking at the top 7 cards of the deck. And now the player can choose to keep 2 trainer cards they find there in their hand. And let's see what they get. It's going to be another Cynthia supporter and a Rare Candy coming into the player's hand. The other 5 cards get shuffled back into the deck now. Okay, just adding some more resources into the player's hand. And here comes Stellar Wish. Once again, looking at the top 5 cards, choosing to keep 1 trainer and shuffling the rest back into the deck. So just searching out a lot of trainer cards this turn. Okay, this time it's going to be a Pokemon Communication. Let's see if we get it activated. No, it does not. Okay, here we go with another Pokemon Research Lab activating. This time the player searches out a Tortuga to put onto the bench. And Aerodactyl GX, so now they've got a full bench on their side. That automatically ends their turn, and here's the coin flip. It is another head, so this Jirachi does wake up, and now let's see if the other one wakes up as well. And yes, both the Jirachi do wake up in between turns. Now back over to the Giratina side. Let's see what they can do for their next turn. One of the Inkay evolves into Malamar. Actually, they both evolve. And now the player has access to 2 Psychic Recharge abilities. There's the Stellar Wish coming through from the Jirachi. And let's see what trainer card they can find for this turn. It's going to be another Lily this time. So like I said earlier, because it's no longer their first turn, if they use this card, they can only draw until they have 6 cards in their hand. A Metal Energy comes down to the bench Giratina. It just needs 1 more Psychic Energy to start attacking. And then an Escape Board is equipped to the active Jirachi. And now has the free retreat cost. And it can also retreat if it's paralyzed or asleep. A Jinx comes down to the bench. And there's Lily to draw some more cards out of the deck. And let's see what they got. A third Inkay comes down to the bench. And that's going to be it. Turn passes. Here's the coin flip. And it is tails. So Jirachi does not wake up. And now over to the Rampardos side once again. They do have a full bench. They just have to start powering up their Pokemon now. A Karate Belt comes down to the bench Cranidos, and there's Cynthia for the turn. To shuffle away the player's hand to draw 6 brand new cards. Let's see if they get any more evolutions coming down. They do need a Rampardos to start attacking, as it is going to be the main attacker of this deck. And yes, there it is. Rampardos comes down, and then it gets a second fighting energy. It just needs one more to use its second attack. There's a Stellar Wish coming through from the Jirachi. Are we going to be seeing more Pokemon being played for the turn? Okay, there we see a rare candy, so it's possible to see the unidentified fossil evolve into a Stage 2 Pokemon with the rare candy. Let's see if it comes through. Oh no, it's going to be a turn passes. Here's a coin flip, and it's going to be a Tails. So Jirachi on the Rampardos side remains asleep, and on the Giratina side, it wakes up. Okay. So a lot of Jirachi going around for both players. Back over to the Giratina side. Okay, here we go with a stadium card, Viridian Forest, to get rid of the Pokemon Research Lab on the Rampardos side. Both players can use the Viridian Forest to discard a card from their hand to search the deck for any basic energy card. So Psychic Energy is discarded to search the deck for another Psychic Energy. So the player's going to be trying to load up their discard pile with energy cards to be attached with the Psychic Recharge from the Malamar. Yeah, there we go. Malamar gets back a Psychic Energy to equip onto the Giratina, so it is fully powered up now. And here comes Jirachi's ability. Looking at the top 5 cards once again. So after this ability goes through, we should be able to see the first attack coming through from the Giratina. There we see a Pokemon Communication. Let's see if it gets activated. Yes, it does. Pokemon Communication swaps out... Let's see what it is. An Ultra Necrozma for the hand for any Pokemon from the deck. So it might be the 3rd Malamar coming down. And yes, 30 Malamar on the field. The player can now accelerate 3 energy per turn. So we should be seeing the first KO of the game. Jirachi is able to retreat thanks to the ability of the Escape Board. And then we see Giratina coming into the active spot now. Okay, everything's ready on that side. And here's the attack. Shadow Impact hitting for a one-hit KO against the opposing Jirachi. Giratina does place 4 damage counters on itself, but that is the first prize taken of the game. Giratina's taking the early lead. Okay, Aerodactyl GX comes up as a new active Pokemon. And on the Rampardos side, the player activates Red's Challenge, discarding a Fighting Energy and a Research Lab from their hand for any card from their deck. The chosen card is going to be Caracosta. It has the ability Ancient Custom to negate the ability of all of the Pokemon tools in the opposing side, so the Spell Tag and the Escape Board no longer do anything. Okay, here comes Rampardos into the active spot now. It does have their Karate Belt, which is currently active, which reduces the attack cost of the Wild Crash by 1 energy card. And there's the attack Wild Crash hitting for a one-hit KO against Giratina, and now both sides are tied at 5 prizes remaining apiece. Okay, Jirachi comes back into the active spot now. It no longer has a free retreat cost because of the Caracosta in play, so it does have to retreat by discarding energy cards. Okay, the Giratina activates its ability Distortion Door. It revives itself from the discard pile, and also places a damage counter on 2 of the opposing bench Pokemon, so a damage counter on the Fossil and the Caracosta. 2 of the Malamar activate their Psychic Recharges, getting 2 energy from the discard pile onto Giratina. And there's the Viridian Forest. The player discards the Psychic Energy from their hand for... let's see what it's going to be. Another Psychic Energy from the deck. So this should be enough to power up Giratina and also pay for Jirachi's retreat cost. Okay, yeah, there's the energy coming down to the Jirachi. There's the Psychic Recharge. And there we go. We should be ready to see another attack coming through. But Jirachi cannot use its ability once again, because once it goes to sleep, it cannot retreat. Okay, the energy is discarded from the Jirachi to pay the retreat. Giratina comes back into the active spot now. But it will not be able to take a one-hit KO against this Rampardos that has 150 HP, and Shadow Impact only hits for 130. Okay, but first here we see Erika's Hospitality, drawing 1 card for every Pokemon on the opponent's side. It's going to be 5 cards drawn. That's a lot of draw power coming through. Oh, also, I forgot to mention that the Amistar's ability, Fossil Bind, is now active because the Rampardos side has fewer Pokemon than the Giratina side. The Giratina player can no longer play any item cards from their hand. So they no longer have access to their Pokemon tools or their items. Okay, the Shadow Impact hit for 130 damage and also placed 4 damage counters on their own Jirachi. And now on the Rampardos side, Rampardos gets the 3rd Fighting Energy. And here's Cynthia as her supporter for the turn to shuffle away their hand and draw 6 new cards. And let's see what they get. Do they have any more Pokemon to put onto the bench? And it looks like we're going to be seeing one. Yes, the Fossil evolves into another Cranidos. And there's the attack, another Wild Crash. It is an automatic one-hit KO as long as it hits into a basic Pokemon, and that is 2 prizes taken by Rampardos. They've taken the lead now. Jirachi comes back into the active spot now. And here comes Giratina back onto the bench with its Distortion Door, hitting Carracosta and Cranidos for 10 damage apiece. There we see all 3 of the Psychic Recharges, immediately powering up the Giratina for an attack. And we just gotta see if the player has any way to get this Jirachi out of the active spot. Okay, with the Viridian Forest, they should be able to find another energy card. And yes, there it is. Another Psychic Energy to pay the retreat cost for Jirachi, and we should be able to see the knockout coming through from the Giratina. And that's pretty much what made this Giratina so powerful back in this format. It could just keep reviving itself every turn to be powered up by the Malamar. And there's the supporter for the turn, Hapu. The player can look at the top 6 cards of their deck. They can choose to keep 2 of the cards, and then discard the other 4. So it's a pretty risky card. It does burn through their deck pretty quickly. And there's the attack, another Shadow Impact, finally taking the KO against Rampardos. And both sides are tied, and 4 prizes remaining apiece. Now 4 damage counters also come down to one of the Malamar. That is a downside of using Shadow Impact. It does damage the player's own Pokemon. Okay, Aerodactyl comes back into the active spot now. And the bench Cranidos evolves into another Rampardos. But it does not have any energy just yet. Okay, Aerodactyl retreats to promote their Carracosta. It does have a super boost energy, and because the player has at least 3 Stage 2 Pokemon in play, it provides 4 Rainbow Energies. There's the attack Aqua Impact to take the 1-hit KO against Giratina, and that is 3 prizes taken by the Rampardos side. They're just taking 1-hit KOs all over the place. Here comes Jirachi back into the active spot now. Giratina comes back into the bench thanks to its ability Distortion Door. And now damage counter comes down to Amistar and Aerodactyl. Here come all the Psychic Recharges. Powering up Giratina once again. You just can't get rid of this thing. But the player should be getting pretty nervous because they might be running out of energy from their deck. They can't keep retreating this Jirachi over and over. Okay, Giratina comes back up now. There's the attack. Shadow Impact. And it's just 10 damage short of taking the KO against Carracosta. 4 damage counters come down to another Malamar now. And turn passes back over to the Rampardos side. Another Rampardos player activates the Viridian Forest, discarding a Karate Belt to search the deck for a Fighting type energy. And let's see where this energy is going to be coming down onto. And it's going to be coming down to the Rampardos this time. There's the attack, another Aqua Impact, taking the KO against Giratina. And that is 4 prizes taken. Okay, here comes Jirachi back into the active spot now. Things are not looking good for the Giratina player. They are behind by 2 prizes. The Giratina comes back into the bench. But it might be a little too late by this point. Okay, it's going to be immediately powered up by the 3 Psychic Recharges. And does the player have an energy card to retreat this Jirachi? Okay, they activate Viridian Forest to search the deck. By discarding Pokemon Communication, they can't use any more item cards, thanks to the ability of the Amistar. And it looks like they could not find anything, so they had to use a Metal Energy to pay the retreat cost for Jirachi, and here comes Giratina once again. So we should be able to see the KO coming through on the Caracosta. Yeah, there's the attack, Shadow Impact. And with Caracosta finally out of play, it takes the ability Ancient Custom offline, so the Giratina player can now use their Skateboard. Aerodactyl comes into the active spot next. It does have a fighting type energy to use its GX attack. Okay, no cards are played. There's the attack. Wild Dive GX hitting for 50 damage, times the number of energy on Giratina hitting for a total of 150 damage to take the one-hit KO. And now the Rampardos side is down to just one prize remaining. Okay, here comes Jirachi. It finally has a free retreat because the escape board can now be used again. Oh, and this time it's not going to be Giratina, it's going to be Gengar and Mimikyu GX coming down to the bench. There we see two Psychic Recharges, getting 2 energy onto the Gengar Mimikyu. So it's fully powered up. And now Jirachi's going to be retreating to promote Gengar Mimikyu. And we should be able to see a pretty big attack coming through. Yeah, there it is, Poltergeist hitting for 50 damage times the number of trainer cards in the opponent's hand. And whoa, that is a ton of trainers. That is nothing but trainers. I think it was 9. For a total of 450 damage. Taking the KO against Aerodactyl and taking 2 prizes. And now both sides are tied, 1 prize remaining apiece. Although I did see the Rampardos side does have at least 2 custom catchers to play. Yeah, there they are, 2 custom catchers to bring up one of the damaged Malamar, and that should be the game. And there's the final attack. Clean hit to take the KO against Malamar to take the final prize. And there's a handshake. Rampardos is your winner. So what did you guys think of that battle? Let me know down in the comments below. And be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share this video to help this channel grow and reach new viewers. Thanks a lot for watching, and until next time, this is the Holland Phantom logging out.